Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose. The man who rules the world runs into the irresistible force of a man with nothing to lose in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get the regular and variant editions of John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose on Amazon.com today. Michael B. Jordan has been announced to be one of the producers on Warner Brothers' upcoming Static Shock movie. And this could be a major positive for that upcoming film due to Michael B. Jordan's previous experience on Marvel Studios' highest grossing superhero film, Black Panther. So your Michael B. Jordan brings a lot of experience from that film Black Panther to Static Shock, and he could be a major asset in the development of the production of a Static Shock movie. So I see no problems with your Michael B. Jordan being attached to this film, nor do I see any problems with the overall plan to use the Static movie as the ground floor to the start of a milestone cinematic universe. Now, DC announced it would be the start of a black superhero universe, but I would rather see a milestone cinematic universe started with Static, because Static was one of the most popular characters in the milestone line, and you could easily start to segue from Static, the most popular character, to Icon, Hardware, and then eventually it transitioned either into a Blood Syndicate movie or a Shadow Cabinet movie, further developing the entire milestone cinematic universe over a series of movies. So there's a lot of positives here with Michael B. Jordan being involved in the milestone cinematic universe, but there are also some issues I would have with a milestone cinematic universe as related to obstacles it may face. And one of the obstacles it may face is your Reginald Hudlin, who is announced to be one of the producers. Because I see Reginald Hudlin as an obstacle because he's just very eager to get out here and get the milestone characters merchandised and marketed, but he's not really one who thinks critically about the milestone characters, nor does he really pay that much attention to Dwayne McDuffie's original vision or respect Dwayne McDuffie's original vision, as we have seen with Milestone Return Zero, where instead of us seeing these characters as Dwayne McDuffie originally envisioned them, we started to see new kind of woke SJW type characters, and that's not what many of the people who grew up with the Static Shock cartoon over 20 years ago want to see, or fans like myself who grew up with Milestone comics over 30 years ago want to see. No, what we want in a Static or Static Shock movie is something that stays very true to the original Milestone comic, and we want something that stays true to the Static Shock cartoon. So in my best vision, I want something that stays very true to what Dwayne wrote in Static number 1, and I want something as related to visuals that stays very true to what Static Shock presented in its first couple of episodes. So that's what I want to see in a live action Static film, and I've seen variations of that in some fan-made films, and that's what I really want to see, something similar to what I saw in several of the Static fan-made films. I want something that shows me Virgil starting out as the socially awkward teenager who's being bullied by Hotstreak, who would be the main villain. The only change I would probably make is going from Frida to Daisy being the love interest, and then we would transition into him having a showdown with Hotstreak, and possibly maybe we'll bring in E-Bomb as another one of the villains. And I definitely want to see the choice Virgil makes with the gun make it to the screen, because this is core to Virgil's character and core to Virgil's story. And if that gun is not there, then we don't see what makes Virgil a hero. And that's one of the things that was missing from Milestone Return Zero that made that book really made me shake my head at it, because without that gun and that choice, we don't really get what defines Virgil as a hero and what makes him different than any other guy in the neighborhood he lived in. So we need to see that choice presented on screen, and we also need to see Richie Foley inside of the show, not the show, the movie. And I really want, these are things that are essential to a static movie. And as for the costume, I don't want to see the Milestone Return Zero costume. No, give me the Static Shock Season 2 costume, because that's the one that's going to pop on screen, and that's the one that's going to be extremely visually strong and be able to make the character appealing to not only people who casually watch the show on WB and the old school Static fans who read the comics. And you also need Virgil to have his trademark dreadlocks, because those locks are a part of his character the same way John Haynes' flat top is a part of who he is. It just, that hairstyle is part of who Virgil Hawkins is. It's integral to his character. And when I saw in Milestone Return Zero them substituting braids, it showed me he didn't understand the importance of those locks and why they are core to Virgil's character. And in Static Shock, when we saw the locks, they were instantly iconic to Virgil Hawkins. So he's got to have his locks, and he's got to have, as I see it, his Season 2 costume. These are core elements to the character, and if you're going to make a static movie, these are the things you want in a static movie. But again, I only have reservations about Reginald Hudlin's involvement because of Reginald Hudlin's complete over-eagerness to get things to the marketplace without really critically thinking about how they would be perceived by the audience. I know he's a comic fan, but his whole vision is a little too eager for me, and I really want to see him temper that eagerness with some discipline, because if he comes out here and makes a static movie with the same ideas that he had in Milestone Return Zero, he's going to create a box office bomb that is going to have an impact on other black superhero films and the whole black superhero genre, because that when all it takes is one bad film to destroy the momentum that Black Panther started by showing us that black superhero movies can do well at the box office. And all they want to do is go out here and point to something like A Wrinkle in Time that your Agent DuVernay made, and then use that as an excuse to not make other superhero films. So I really want to see something that is very well executed in terms of the concept, and I really want to see something that is extremely well written as in terms of the story, because Static has a very solid story for an origin. And if fans could make a solid Static film with just a little bit of resources, then I know a solid production team with over $150 to $200 million could make a very, very solid Static film if they were given the same types of tools. I mean, if these guys could do this with next to no money, then we should get a very high quality Static film on the level of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. So that's my expectations for a Static movie. I want something that stays true to the spirit of Dwayne McDuffie's characters, and I would really be happy if we got John Rossum to be one of the consultants, because John Rossum was Dwayne McDuffie's roommate, I think, in college, and he was one of his closest friends. So if we can get John Rossum involved in the development of this film, that would make me very happy to support the Static film. And I really am eager to see a Static film, but if we get John Rossum involved, and because John Rossum knew Dwayne McDuffie better than anyone out here, and John Rossum really wanted to stay true to what everything that Dwayne wanted to do, with the New 52 Static Shock. Unfortunately, Dan Didio and people at DC undermined him, but he really wanted to preserve the legacy of this character for his friend, and if he could get involved, then I would feel a lot more comfortable about a Static film, because I know Michael B. Jordan has the background as related to his experience with Black Panther and other films, and I know that while Reginald Hudlin has passion, he needs to be tempered, and I believe the person to temper him is John Rossum. And if you can get Rossum in here, then you're gonna have the foundations for everything for a quality Static film. Everything is there. All they have to do is make this movie, make the right decisions, and we could have the second Black classic superhero movie. If you'd like to read some of my action-packed African-American fantasy heroes like Isis, John Haynes, and E-Steam, you can pick up the books of the Isis series, the E-Steam series, and the John Haynes series on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them in digital formats on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this and publish more books and comic books, you can head over to Amazon.com, not Amazon.com, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Those who refuse the gift of eternal